simply on the other side of the stairs.
The best buildings for condo conversions are those buildings which have a lot of long-term tenants in them, and those are because those buildings are worth somewhat less to another landlord who's looking for rental income. So the speculators look for buildings with long-term tenants in them. Seniors tend to have long-term tenancies. Seniors, if they make it through the eviction, most often end up in a nursing home or in some retirement community many miles away from San Francisco.
No, thank you. Who would I do in a nursing home? Be too many people around. See, I'm the type, I'd like to be by myself.
The ones that we've monitored typically don't last for more than a year, maybe even 6 months. So the evictions of seniors kills them.
After all these years, you know, I haven't done anything wrong, and I kept the place up, and I own everything in here.
She would often say, "They can't evict me, where would I go? And I can't leave here, this has been my home."
Maybe I can come up with something, you know, so I wouldn't have to move, period. Or I might be dead by then.
A real estate company bought her building last year. They bought the building for $500,000 and they immediately evicted Lola and the 3 other tenants.
They've got blood on their hands.
Lola died fighting her eviction.
I think the first thing to understand is why there's so much technology in the Bay Area, because that's really where it all starts. And the fact is, you know, the world at large, the global economy is moving to an information age, and that's typically funded by the venture capital community.
Their job is to start companies, spin them into the market, get them out there, and then exit and get their money back to themselves and their investors. So that's the nature of that game. Something like SoftBank Ventures, that's actually a Japanese venture capital operation, and they're investing very, very heavily in Yahoo, Webvan, eToys, a lot of the .coms. So there's just a tremendous amount of money flowing into our system to finance this boom.
Just the kind of numbers that people would drop casually in conversation were astonishing. Oh, well, you know, $4 million in the first round, that's really not a lot. You know, like, that's a huge amount of money.
Last quarter, the 3-month period, there was $20 billion invested in venture capital worldwide, not just technology, worldwide. And $7.5 billion of that came into the Bay Area. So this one little area right here sort of commanded 35% of all investment dollars in the world. That's just an amazing, amazing figure, and that all went to technology companies.
Supposedly they have all this money, and you know, and money talks or whatever, and money makes a person. But I mean, I don't know. It's just that they seem kind of weird because, you know, they're not into a community like they should be. They didn't check out the community who was here before they bought the buildings, before they moved in. You know, they just thought that they were going to be some, you know, big hot shots or whatever. But you know, it's not like that here.
I love this neighborhood for so many reasons. I love it because of who lives here. I love the fact that you walk down the street and you bump into Señora Lopez, or you bump into La Señora Cisneros, and hey, how you doing, Maria? I'm fine. How are you? And how are the kids? And I love that so many immigrants live in this neighborhood. There used to be a lot of Italian families and Irish families, and then it became Mexican Chicano, and then it became more and more Central American with the wars going on in Central America. But fundamentally, the Mission, along with other neighborhoods in San Francisco, has always allowed working class families and small businesses and artists and people with less money than the dot-commers who are coming in to be able not only to live here but to flourish.
It's something about this like community, this little block, you know, a neighborhood that just everybody knows each other, everybody knows where everybody lives, you know. It's like, you know, who drives what car. I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's like a little connection that everybody has right here. When the lady next door moved in, she doesn't have no kids, and you know, I mean, we always have kids out in the front because we have like a pretty big front patio, and you know, the kids after school, they came over here from Cesar Chavez, and you know, they hanged out, they played, they did their homework, whatever it is that they did. And the lady next door didn't like that. She doesn't have no kids. She has 2 pit bulls. She came in here with anger and with sort of like an attitude towards the entire community. She put this huge fence right here, and she locks herself in there. If you look up there right now, she has cameras up there looking at us right now as we speak. You know, my friend Charles, you know, he builds computers, he fixes them, you know, he can do anything with computers, you know. It's just that people, it's first experience that people take a look at you, you know, they say, okay, his pants are hanging down, he's a gangster, he sells drugs, he steals, he's been in jail. But you don't ask him to see what his life is really like. She went to go tell our landlord that our kids were being a nuisance, you know, that like we were making too much noise, too much garbage, we were too loud, stuff like that. And so our landlord thought that he could slip up real quick when it evict us. So he gave us an eviction notice. It made me feel bad, you know, because nobody deserved this. You know, nobody in the family deserved this. We've been here for the past 10 years, and, you know, it's not right for one person to come in, you know, with a whole bunch of money and, you know, just think that they can screw up an entire neighborhood. My little sister's 9 and my little cousin's 10, and they knew what was going down. You know, they knew what evictions were. They knew what was going to happen if we did get evicted. You know, as the oldest of my siblings, you know, I decided to, you know, take charge, and you know, I wasn't going to let nobody push my family around. I mean, if it was just, you know, like me living here by myself, I wouldn't really care, you know. Because, I mean, I can just go with one of my friends or one of my relatives, you know. But, I mean, where's the family going to go?
People who move into the mission are, in fact, replacing the Latinos. Latinos have taken, in many cases, money for those old rundown structures they live in, and they're buying in Daly City, or they're buying a better structure some other place. It's the natural process. The mission was not always Latino. The mission at one time was Irish.
They can't even afford to rent a studio nowadays here in San Francisco. The immigrant workers that I work with, most of them live under the bridges, live out on the street.
I feel angry, of course, like many people do, and sad, because it's, in a lot of ways, it's progressed much farther than, of course, anybody feels comfortable with, and thousands of people have been evicted, and I can see someone on the street and know you have the house that used to belong to 7 immigrant Salvadorians and now belongs to you.
Today, this gargantuan bridge spans the blue-green waters of the bay between San Francisco and Oakland, welding dozens of nearby communities into one busy, humming metropolitan area.
With the huge housing pressure on San Francisco, this has caused like droves of people to come over the bay looking to buy property. And what this has done has created, you know, this like huge wave of displacement here in Oakland, especially that in Oakland we don't have tenant protections that exist